Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I'm going to be talking to you about my top 5 favourite reads from this summer. So the weather is getting a bit colder. We are knee deep in autumn right now, so naturally this is the time to be talking about summery reads. These 5 books that I'm going to be talking about are not specifically books that one should read in the summer. They are just 5 books that I happen to read through the months of June to August that I really liked, and I just wanted to share them with you. These are in no particular order. These are just 5 of the best books I read in that 3-month time period, but without organising them. I've got one non-fiction book to talk to you about, and that is This Is Gonna Hurt by Adam Kay. This is the diary of a junior doctor working in the NHS. Now Adam Kay doesn't actually work in the medical profession anymore. He quit after a few years, and this is basically his story up to the point where he decides to leave. It is funny, it is heartbreaking, it made me laugh, it made me cry, like full range of emotion in this book. He has a very specific style of humour, so if you're not chuckling after a few pages, I'd probably leave it alone. The next book I have to talk to you about is The Bookman's Tale by Charlie Lovett. Now, we on BookTube love books, but we also love books about books. This is a historical fiction that is looking at the origins of a manuscript that is supposed to prove that Shakespeare was actually Shakespeare. Now, if you don't know much about the Shakespeare controversy, there are a lot of arguments out there in academic circles that Shakespeare was not actually Shakespeare and is one of many different historical figures who could have been writing under the pseudonym Shakespeare. And this is the journey of a man to try and prove that the manuscript that he's found is actually going to vindicate Shakespeare as a genuine person. There's a whole host of other things to do with grief and loss and a lot of emotional stuff in it, but it's a really brilliant historical fiction and is perfect if you do like Shakespeare and you like that whole controversy around it. Then I'm going to talk about The Bees by Leilani Poole. Now this is a wonderful book that I've lent to my mum, so I don't have a copy here anymore, and it is literally the story of a bee. So it's just her life in the hive, the various different tasks that she does, how the hive interacts and works, and Leilani Poole does a really good job of really sinking into that bee mindset. It reminded me a lot of Black Beauty, where Anne Sewell writes as the horse. Now again, this is one of these ones that is going to polarise people. I've had a lot of reviews on Goodreads that were saying like, it's just about bees, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just about bees. Like, it's wicked. You get to find out all about how their infrastructure works, and they have like a battle with wasps, and it's just cool. So if you do like those quirky, outside of the norm kind of books and you want something to push you outside of your comfort zone, I would totally recommend this one. I think it's so well written and so cool and so interesting. The next one I have talked about on my channel here before, and it is the Themis Files, specifically the first one, Sleeping Giants. Sleeping Giants is about a girl who finds a giant metal hand buried underneath the earth, and then when she's older as a scientist she gets a chance to study it, and it turns out that this is connected to a bunch more other body parts that are spread all across the world. This book is brilliant because it goes into all the science and the military movements behind trying to orchestrate something like this. It's just a wonderful sci-fi. And I'd read audiobook because it is done entirely in interviews and reports, so the spoken word element is really strong. I think the nameless shadowy government character is one of my favourites of all of the books that I've read this year. I think he might be my favourite character ever, and in audiobook form he is cutting and terrifying and pithy and just such a cool character. So totally go and check it out. Really fun book. And then the final one I wanted to tell you about is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silver. So it's about a world where we get alerted at midnight on the day that we are going to die. Deathcast gives you a call and lets you know, and this means that you have an opportunity to do any of the things that you wanted to get done and say goodbye to any of the people who you want to say goodbye to before you die. You don't know how and you don't know when in those 24-hour period, but you do know you're going to die at some point there. And this follows the story of 2 boys, Matteo and Rufus, and they both get the alert, and it's about how they both deal with it, and they end up connecting up on one of these, like, bit like Tinder but for friends who are going to die on the same day as well. Bit strange, but they connect up, and it's about how they end up impacting each other's last 24 hours on Earth. It did suffer a little bit from just a sheer number of crazy point of views, and there were a few kind of misdirects about how they might die, which I just didn't think were necessary, but it's a really lovely story, and their interactions and where their relationship goes, it's just wonderful, and the whole system of Deathcast is fascinating from a metaphysical point of view. Totally going to do a video about that. So that was it. fairly speedy. Just wanted to chuck over a quick little video about my top 5 favourite reads. These are all amazing books that you should totally go and check out, and most of them I've not really talked about on this channel here before very much. I'll have a few more videos for you later, and yeah, have a brilliant day. Happy reading. Bye guys.